Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexualised, sharing my own asexual journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find the content useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape or form, or you just want to give this channel some like love. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing what is an emotional connection and why is it important in a relationship. But first of all, if you didn't know I am Sandra Bellamy. I'm author of this beautiful Asexual Perspectives book. That's 47 real life asexual stories. And it's basically asexual's perspective of love, life, and sex in this highly sexualized world we live in. If you're interested in that, check it down below in the description. I'm also the author of this awesome fibromyalgia self-help handbook, how to manage fibromyalgia to have less pain, more energy, and feel happier like a superhero rock star. And that link is also down below in the description. I specialise on this channel asexuality. Asexuality is a sexual orientation that's a lack of sexual attraction, and I'm the one and only asexuality coach. So I help people in their asexual life with all aspects of their asexual life, and I particularly specialise in dating and relationships from an asexual point of view. So today we're going to be discussing what is an emotional connection and why is it important in a relationship. So first of all, I think we need to define what is an emotional connection. Emotional connection is when you, I know it sounds really obvious, connect with someone emotionally, but what does that actually mean? So today, yesterday now, because I'm a little bit late with this live stream, we've gone over the midnight into Monday. But earlier on Sunday, I had an Indian guy who's been my friend on Facebook for a little while pop into my messenger and say to me, "Can I be your soulmate?" Which I thought was very sweet and adorable. But obviously, I can't just be soulmates with someone. And I often, soulmates can be quite rare to find, right? And so emotional connection plays into soulmates. But what I want to establish first is emotional connection. And what is emotional connection? Emotional connection is when you are connected to someone emotionally, and that means that you feel them. You feel their pain, you feel their emotions, you feel their heart, you feel their emotions because you are emotionally connected to them. You feel them, right? This is very different from talking to a stranger when you don't really know them and you feel that you can't relate to them or have anything in common with them. So in order for emotional connection to happen, you'd need to be able to relate to that person on some sort of level and have an understanding of each other, right? But I have friends who are guys who I'm not emotionally connected to. Right? I'm not emotionally connected to them. And this is because we haven't got that much in common, but we can still get on as friends. I don't know much about them. They haven't opened their heart and their emotions to me. So that remains shut like a closed seal bag. So I can't emotionally connect with someone who doesn't show their emotions to me. Right? So in order for an emotional connection to happen, two people have to both be showing their emotions to each other, because this is how we connect. If a person puts up barriers and walls and doesn't really reveal many secrets about themselves, doesn't really reveal much emotional stuff about themselves, it's all quite formal, quite matter of fact, that person on the receiving end isn't able to form an emotional connection with them because there's a disconnect. There's like a wall, a barrier. There's like a film like down, like a film, like cling film. There's like a barrier up, right? So in order for emotional connection to happen, two people have to open their heart, open their soul, and open their emotions to each other. This is how an emotional connection works. But obviously, a lot of people are scared to do that. They feel very vulnerable. They feel very frightened. They feel very worried and in pain. Now, on this channel, I open up emotionally to a lot of you. I don't even know you. You're coming in my bedroom with me. Just kind of weird. And I don't know you, do I? Or do I? But, you know, when I talk like this, I know I'm emotionally connecting to you because I'm talking to you, because I'm looking into the camera at you, and I'm giving you my emotional soul laid bare, right? It does take a great degree of courage to be able to do that. But I'm such a strong person over the years that even if I'm emotionally vulnerable, I will still remain strong. Doesn't mean to say I can't get hurt. Doesn't mean to say I can't cry, I can't feel, I can't be sad, I can't be hurt. But what it means is I may get down sometimes, but I always get up, right? Because I'm super strong. And actually, the more you show your emotions, the more you be emotional, the more you show your emotion to the world, the less hurt you can get. Because people can't get you on the things. What I mean by this is there's some people in the world that aren't very nice, and they will try to use yourself against yourself, right? And narcissistic people, they do prey on people who are emotional, right? That's what they do. That's what they like to do, right? But because they don't actually like emotional people, because they can't emotionally connect, because there's a disconnect with them, because they're not being their true authentic self, and they're not being nice, and they don't show empathy, right? In order to emotionally connect with someone, you need to be empathetic. You need to feel that person's pain. You need to be able to understand that person's pain in order to understand them, right? And can you connect emotionally with someone quite quickly? You could do, yes. And the reason for this is because they have opened their heart and their soul to you, and you have done the same. This is how you can connect a lot quicker with someone emotionally, because you start talking, right? You find that you have things in common to relate to each other. You then grow some understanding of each other. You then find familiarity. When you find familiarity, you feel more comfortable and confident talking to the person. Therefore, you reveal a bit more of your true self to this person. And then once that person's revealed a bit more of their true self to you, if you're building an emotional connection, if you're not hiding things, then the other person reveals more about themselves. And this is how it works. And before you know it, you've got this really strong emotional connection with them because you've opened your heart, your soul, and you've shared your secrets with each other. That some people might not even know these secrets. I have an emotional connection to my bestest friends. And if I get into a relationship, then I will have an emotional connection with that person, because I personally cannot be in a relationship with someone I'm not emotionally connected to. Emotional connection is essential for a relationship, and it's especially essential for an asexual relationship, because asexuals lack sexual attraction. We don't build love on physical genitals. This is not how we do it. A lot of people who experience sexual attraction, they'll be sexually attracted to each other, they'll be passionate with each other, want to get intimate with each other, right? But the problem with that is they could be emotionally incompatible, or one could be holding back emotionally the other. Now, to be very physical with someone, to be very sexual with someone, can be an emotional thing, right? But the way people do it without feeling emotion is basically they don't tell each other much. So when you see people in clubs, right, and they're going back to each other's places, but they're not really talking about any intimate stuff, any feeling stuff, any caring and sharing stuff, they very much go, hi, how are you? How are you doing? It's all kind of matter of fact, right? It's only when the person starts expressing their emotions, their feelings, their past hurt, their past pain, that you can relate to them and you can form an emotional connection. So where two people can be very physical with each other, but they can be less attached to each other emotionally because they haven't emotionally connected. They haven't laid their soul bare. They haven't laid their emotions out, right? So they're quite shut off. So it's literally kind of very formal, a lot more clinical, a lot more matey, if you like, than having a deep emotional connection. Right? This is how people have one night stands, because they really don't connect with the person. They don't care. I don't personally agree with one night stands. I don't like them. I don't believe, personally, for me, I don't like casual relationships. I'm not interested in them. Like, do you know what I mean? And I don't want sex, right? So I'm not interested in stuff like that, right? And every time I had sex in the past, which was a long time ago now, 9 years ago, every time I have had it in the past, it's always been in a relationship. I would never have had sex outside a relationship. I don't believe in that, right? So that, you know, if you believe in that, that's up to you. So what I'm saying is, first and foremost for me, I need emotional connection with a guy in order to consider being in a relationship with him. So this person, this Indian guy who asked me to be his soulmate, you know, you can't just, oh, Sam, same here. RE casual relationships and one night stands and never had sex. And hello, Sandra. Hello. Lots of love to you, my friend. Nice to see you. Thanks for the thumbs up. So I can't do it. And so this guy, you know, he asked me to be his soulmate. And again, soulmate is something, not really something you can ask of a person. You either are or you aren't their soulmate. And you build a soulmate connection up by getting to know their soul, by emotionally connecting with them and getting to understand them on a deep level, so that you can kind of predict what they're saying, what they're thinking without them even telling you. So, you know, in order to be someone's soulmate, emotional connection plays into that a lot. You need a strong emotional connection in order to be someone's soulmate, because a soulmate is a connection of the souls, and the soul is the more emotional side to you, the more essence of your being. So it's not the physical stuff, it's the more emotional stuff, the feeling, if you know what I mean. So, you know, when this guy said, can I be your soulmate? It's not something you can actually ask a person. He could have said, I wish I was your soulmate, or I'd love to be your soulmate. But it's not something that you can just conjure up. I can't make someone my soulmate. And this guy I have no emotional connection to whatsoever. I don't know who he is, really. Even though he's been on my friends list for a while, he supports my posts. I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about him, pretty much. I know he supports my post. I know he's not asexual. I know he's Indian. And I know he said some crazy stuff when I first messaged me. Like, I'll be your partner, out of the blue, when I've only just, like, said hi. It's like, no, really not. And the reason, and he gave me, and he said, I'm ugly and no one wants me, or something like that. I'm like, no, I don't get into a relationship with that type of guy. But I've stayed friends with him on Facebook for months now. So, but he's very supportive of my posts, I have to admit. He said some nice stuff in private message today. Like, basically, he's not asexual, but he said, I can see why. I know sex life brings you as much happiness as a sexual life, which I thought was nice. I said, well, personally, for me, I think no sex life is much better than a sexual life. But, you know, but I understood that he was being nice to me. So I thought that was good. So yeah, he's a person that hasn't had sex before, but that's not through choice. But he's not asexual. So yeah, but it was nice of him to say that to me, you know, because I'm very, very open that I believe I have an Indian asexual soulmate. And one day I'll find him, but I just won't be with someone for the sake of being with someone. Do you know what I mean? And I need to have an emotional connection to them. I need to be able to feel them, connect to their heart, feel their pain. I need to be able to understand. And now that might seem really, really weird, feel their pain. But, you know, you don't want someone who's not going to feel your pain back, because you want, you know, through the ups and downs of relationships and life is going to be up and down a lot of the time. It's not going to be smooth sailing. You know, if you've got someone who doesn't understand you emotionally, who can't feel empathy for you, it's just going to be like you're talking to a brick wall, and it's going to seem very disconnected to that person, and it's going to seem very painful and upsetting, because you're going to be like, hey, I'm in pain here and you're not feeling anything. Do you even care about me? And that's how it would be. So, you know, when you love someone and you're deeply bonded to them, and even when you care about your friends, you know, who are really close to you, can have this deep emotional connection with them. And if they're upset, you feel upset for them. You feel their pain, even if they don't tell you all the time they're in pain. You know they are. You can just tell by what they don't say. Not necessarily every time they say something, but what they don't say. And you can tell by their behavior and their actions, and you can tell because you can just read between the lines, because you have that emotional connection with them. You understand them on that deep, fundamental, foundational level. Sometimes people don't understand that I know what they're thinking and feeling. They just don't realize, but I do, and so it's very, very important that you have this deep emotional connection, especially if you're looking to get into an asexual relationship, because that's how we love and that's how we maintain and sustain a relationship, because we haven't got this physical going, "Ooh, I want to jump on your genitals" business going on, which to me is just disgusting. Personally, for me, when I am looking for a relationship, I look for a guy who will open his heart to me, who will share his secrets with me, who will not keep things from me, who will not lie, who will tell me stuff maybe I don't even want to hear. I'm not always going to want to hear everything he's going to say, right? Some stuff might hurt a little bit, but I would rather know the truth than him lie to me or keep things from me, because I can tell. I'm very, very intuitive, and I can tell if someone's holding something back, even if they don't think I know. And even if they say there's nothing, I know there is. I can just tell. So I need a guy completely open and honest, sharing his emotions, sharing his thoughts, sharing his feelings. And this is how you develop emotional connection, by sharing thoughts, feelings, and emotions with that other person, and sharing your goals and your ambitions and your dreams, and relating to each other. You've got to have stuff to relate to each other as well. So if a guy comes into my life and he's interested in relationship with me and I have no emotional connection to him, there is no way I can get into a relationship with him. It's just like talking to a board. There's nothing there. There's no emotions there. So I can't do that, and I won't do that. I don't even feel that attracted to someone like that at all, because how can I be? I've got nothing to latch onto, if you like. I've got nothing to go by. I've got nothing to go on. I've got no substance to a possible relationship, And if a guy is closed off, or whatever gender you're interested in is closed off to you emotionally from the start, you can't have a relationship with that person, because further down the line, you're going to need that emotional connection. You're going to need that understanding. You're going to need that empathy, and it isn't going to be there. And you won't know who they are. They'll be like a stranger to you. If you sleep with the person, as in sleep in the bed with the person, it'll be like waking up next to a stranger, and you won't know who the heck they are. And it will play out a bit like, I don't know, maybe a soap drama or something. It'll be like you've got to disconnect from a person. Like in the past, I've emotionally connected with guys, and then I've had guys I haven't been so emotionally connected with, right? For me personally, I probably do have some emotional connection to the majority of the guys I've been with in the past, if not all of them, in some ways, right? But I would say it goes from a tiny little bit into full a lot. But I would say now I've discovered I'm asexual since 2014, that I personally feel I'm much more capable as well, through my own life journey, much more capable of emotionally connecting with someone. Because in the past, I was probably more disconnected from my own emotions. I was probably more reserved. I was probably more holding back. I was probably less open, I think, and I was more kind of like into myself. So I think now I'm able to more emotionally connect with people, understand people a lot better. For me, the majority of the time it's with guys rather than women, because I'm not too keen in general on women as compared to blokes. For me, I get on better with blokes, but I do have a best female friend who I am emotionally connected to in a different type of way. Like I wouldn't want anything to happen to her. I care about her. If she's upset, I do worry. I do feel for her. I do really, adore her as a female to female friend. I love her in a friendship way. So I do have some emotional connection to her. But the majority of my friends are guys. The majority are. Even all the people that come to my meetups, a lot of them tend to be guys as well, a majority of them. So, but I talk to guys mostly online, So, for me, like, that might sound weird because a lot of the time guys are predominantly shown as not being emotional. But for me, I guess I tend to be attracted to guys who are feminine in some ways. They have some feminine qualities. Now, um, like traditional masculine and feminine, the feminine side of the person is the one that's able to emotionally connect usually to the other person. Because it requires you being vulnerable and open and softer. And so that's kind of known as more feminine type of traits, So when I'm talking to guys, I don't realize for a while that they're actually, but then I twig and then I think, Sandra, they're connecting with you. They've probably got more feminine to them anyway. And I find that the majority of guys I talk to have feminine qualities because I have some masculine qualities. I have some guy traits, which I'm very proud of. Sometimes I find though that I'm stronger than quite a few guys are, and that's kind of weird. It's like, I do need a strong guy for me in a relationship. Do you know what I mean? I kind of need a guy with some feminine traits that would also be very strong in his own mind and know what he wants. And that I think is a very, very difficult balance to get. I kind of need a guy with some feminine traits, but who's also got some masculine in a good way as well, kind of like balance the thing out. And for any relationship, you do need a great degree of masculine and feminine in both people, right? Like, gone are the days when, like, it's just like guys all masculine and a woman's all feminine. That's not actually healthy in a relationship, because a woman, I'm talking about genders now, but you can have any gender you want, but I'm talking about traditional male and female roles. A woman cannot connect to a guy emotionally unless he has some feminine traits, because it's a feminine side of him that will connect to her, right? So all these guys that are completely living in a masculine life, if you like, and this is how it can be toxic to a female, for example, because they can't empathize with the woman. They can't feel the woman's emotions because they're too much in their masculine essence, and it's a feminine part of them that connects with the female. So if they haven't, or connects with other people emotionally, they need that femininity about them. They need those female traits, and if they haven't got them, they'll find it harder to get a good woman for a relationship. They can probably get someone who's not such a good person, because the woman probably will have more masculine traits in not such a good way, and also, if he's going to get a woman, it's probably not going to be the type of emotional connection that's needed for a very substantial, healthy, happy relationship. You got to be very careful. I mean, a lot of the traditional dating coaches are like, oh, a guy needs to be masculine, a woman needs to be feminine, but you have to have both in a gender. You cannot have just completely one or the other, because you can't connect to each other. It's the same with women. Do well to have some masculine traits. What do I mean by this? Well, what I mean by this is a woman needs, when she's not with her guy, for example, to be able to take care of herself, to be able to financially provide for herself, to be able to have a roof over her head for herself, to be able to make decisions, to be able to take action and do things. These are what's known as masculine traits. Right? A woman needs to be able to do things to drive her own life forward. And a guy needs that. He doesn't want a woman not to be able to take care of herself all the time. Do you know what I mean? Because he'll be like, it's not up to me to change your life for you and for me to have all the burden of your whole life on me. I need you to be able to look after yourself while I'm doing the work. Do you know what I mean? So this is actually how masculine and feminine should be in, each gender, whatever gender you actually are, and this is how male and female genders can work better together. So we're in the 21st century nowadays, right? And some dating coaches who are not obviously teaching asexuality like I am, some dating coaches, they're still talking this stuff, and it's just a lot of rubbish, right? It's a lot of rubbish, because the good relationships are based on a really strong, fundamental, foundational, emotional connection, which a guy and woman or whatever gender can't get unless you've got some femininity going on, right? This is the truth, right? So a guy who's really, really masculine and got no feminine qualities whatsoever, he isn't going to be able to connect emotionally to a woman. And that's just going to cause disconnection. It's going to cause a woman to feel like you don't understand me. I'm really upset and you don't feel anything. You're acting like you're a brick wall or something. The woman might go off crying on her own and think you just don't get me. I feel alone even though I'm in the relationship. And that's really destructive, right? So I want to just really get rid of all these stupid stereotypical male and female roles like this, because it's actually destructive. It's very, very destructive. And people are just not being taught this stuff. They're not being taught 21st century modern ways that actually work, you know? So in order for any people, any genders to have a good, healthy, happy relationship, they need to have an emotional connection. Because what will happen when you're apart? If you're apart and you haven't got an emotional connection, and one person doesn't keep in touch with you, and you know, it's like, well, I'm not seeing you. Because some people, they only have an emotional connection with someone when they see them, right? They don't have it the rest of the time. Now, for me, that's not a really deep emotional connection. This is kind of more like superficial stuff, right? So in order to have a proper deep emotional connection, you need to feel that person when they're not with you. You need to be thinking and connecting with them. And then this kind of goes somewhat into soulmates, because soulmates, when you're a soulmate with someone, you feel them. You feel that person's pain. You understand them, how their mind works. You can interpret and predict even their behavior sometimes. But you've got to be very careful that you don't tell them what to do or tell them how their life is, right? You can kind of like, you know, like you have to try and understand them without trying to take over them, and you don't want to be controlling. That's not nice. That's unhealthy, right? So you want to be able to understand them, but know that, you know, you might be wrong, or there is opportunity for that person to change, you know, and this is kind of when it can get difficult. So if you feel really emotionally connected to someone, all of a sudden this person changed their life path, they go on a different path, they change their way of living, then it can be hard, because you can feel an emotional disconnection. You'll be like, hang on a minute, I was connected to you in this way, then all of a sudden you change your life and you're doing something different. This feels a bit weird. So when you're emotionally connected to someone, it can be very blissful and happy and amazing, because you understand that person better than anyone else. But it can also be difficult because, you know, if that person is not keeping in contact with you, you can feel a disconnect from that person. And if the person is breaking the emotional connection with you somehow by holding back their secrets, by not telling each other things, by changing their behavior in that way, then you can feel this terrible disconnect, and that can feel very, very painful. So this is why some people don't like to be emotionally vulnerable, because it can hurt, right? You need two people to completely trust each other and to both bear all, if you know what I mean, and to be able to be in this beautiful kind of like pyramid symmetrical understanding and deep empathy and feeling for each other in order for it to flourish. And then you kind of need to nurture it. So you ride the waves with each other like a beautiful dance, because you'll be doing the dance of life with each other, because you'll be connected to that person, right? Now, I think that when you're connected emotionally to people, some people can connect emotionally to more people than others. But, you know, when you find that those really special kind of people that you connect with, you know, you should, you know, hold on to them. They're precious, you know. So I have an emotional connection with my best friend, Sam. I know I do. It's not going to be the same as a romantic connection, but it's still going to be an emotional connection. Like, I know when they're sad, it makes me sad, right? I do worry about them, right? I care about them, right? And same with my best friend Andy. I you know, I'm very aware when they're feeling emotional. Sometimes, you know, I know they need their space as well. So you got to respect that as well. That you kind of got, when you emotionally connect to someone, you feel for them, you empathize with them, you can feel their pain sometimes, but sometimes they may want their own space as well to sort their own emotions out in their life, you know. So you've got to be like sensitive, kind, caring, there for them whenever they want you. You've also got to be understanding they might need their own space as well. So do you know what I mean? You've got to like judge it and talk to them and say that you're there for them if they need you, right? But you know, in terms of like romance and relationships and stuff like that, you know, like for me, it's absolutely essential that I have that relationship. Like a lot of women, they're interested in the guy's money. They're interested in what size house he's got, how fast his car is. Do you know what I mean? They're interested in lots of materialistic things, right? I'd like to say this isn't true and this stereotype's wrong, but the women I've come across that are not asexual, some of them are very into this type of thing. Like, how much money has the guy got? What type of house has he got? You know, like, has he got a big house? What's his car like? And all this type of material stuff. I'm actually quite shocked that people are still like this these day and age, you know? But they are, and that's how they kind of judge whether a guy's right for them or not, right? I am not interested in how much money a guy has. I want him to have enough money to financially support himself and come and see me, you know. But a lot of the guys I know are actually still living at home with their parents. But you know what I mean? So I want him to be able to come and have money to come and see me and financially support himself. But I don't need him to have a ton of money because I've got my own money and I live my own life. I look after myself. Do you know what I mean? So I don't need his money, right? And you know, I'm not. The only reason I'd be interested in him having a car is if I didn't live near him and he could, you know, drive to see me. But my best friend Sam, my other friend Andy, they both come on public transport to see me, so you don't need a car to do that anyway, you know. And I'm not interested in like all this type of thing, this materialistic thing. I'm interested in does the guy open up his heart to me? Does the guy care about me? Is he a kind person? Is he a loving person? Is he going to be a good person for me to be with? Is he going to want to spend lots of time with me? Is he going to drive miles to see me? Is he going to be excited to see me? Is he going to love my company? Am I going to make him happy just by being myself without having to force it and put on a show or push myself to doing things that I don't want to do? Right? Is he just going to think, God, I just want to be around her because I just love her essence and her being, right? This is the type of guy I look for in a relationship, right? I look for a guy who who I can make happy, who they can make me happy, but naturally happy. No, I'm not forced and put on and trying to do something just to impress the person or just to make them feel good without actually being natural. Do you know what I mean? Because that type of thing's just going to wear off. It's going to be false and fake, right? And you know, I look for a guy who makes me smile, you know, and who I feel good about being around, but also someone who shows me that he's not happy all the time, that he can be sad in life, that he does have ups and downs, that he is vulnerable, that he is this person who's not perfect, but who tries his best to be as good as he can be, you know? And this is how I connect to a person. I connect to a guy who isn't perfect, who has some flaws, who will show me his emotions in a constructive way. Now, I'm not interested in a guy who'll start ranting and raving, get in a strop, storm out, have emotional outbursts and stuff like that. That's not the type of guy I'm interested in. Right? Being emotionally connected to someone is not about having emotional outbursts or anything like that. Being emotionally connected to someone is with a guy, for me, because I'm interested only in guys, is someone who can express their emotions in a very constructive, thoughtful manner. Not someone who blurts it out, but who's someone who's so open to their emotions that they just say, God, I'm feeling really upset today, or I'm feeling really upset now. You know, if they're upset with me, you know, say, I'm not feeling good now, and this is why. Because the worst thing you can do is get into a relationship with someone and you know they're upset about something, they're not saying it. Right? A guy who's a good guy, who's developed himself and grown himself, will be able to express himself and say, look, I'm not feeling happy, and this is why. Do you know what I mean? Sam, materialism is nothing to me. I would rather have a close, loving relationship with someone who I have a connection with and who we can both just be ourselves with each other. I just want openness, honesty, respect, and love. That's exactly what I like, Sam. I want exactly the same. But luckily, you've got it, you know. But I want that, you know. I want it a lot, and I haven't found the right guy for me yet, you know. Because to me, that's what's so important. There's so many people out there that are interested in genitalia, and quite frankly, it's sickening, you know. To me, anyway, as an asexual person, I'm not interested in guys interested in my genitalia. I really couldn't care less about that type of guy. I'm not interested in a guy who wants to have anything to do like that with my genitalia. And, you know, I'm not here for to be a blooming dick machine or something. Oh, it just repulses me, you know. And the more I think about it, the more sick I feel, you know. I like passion, but I don't like sex. I'm not interested in sexual intercourse. You know, if a guy, I don't need the guy's genital stuff. You know, I don't need his to touch his bit. You know what I mean? It's just like, Sam, yes, I do have a very loving partner now, and I've never been lucky or happy. I'm really glad. I'm really glad. But I'm glad you understand me though, Sam. That's what I mean. I'd rather have a close, loving relationship with someone I have a connection with, and both just be ourselves with each other. That's what I want: openness, honesty, respect, and love. And I haven't personally, for me, found that yet. I haven't found a guy who values my worth in relationship terms. I really haven't. It's kind of like, I love myself enough to know that I'm a good person, and a guy will be very lucky to have me one day. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just haven't met the right guy who's strong for me. You know what I mean? I need a strong guy who knows exactly what he wants, and I haven't met that guy yet. And I do believe that my soulmate is Indian. I've always believed that. I'll never stop believing that. And I hope to meet the right guy eventually. And someone who can love me for who I am, and who will hold my heart in his hands and protect it and care for it and love it. And that's why I really think, in terms of relationship, I think you want to be with someone who will hold your heart in their hands, and they will protect it, right? I don't need a guy to do this all this practical stuff for me. Like, I've got a roof over my head myself. I got food in my belly, in my fridge. I've got my own practical stuff sorted out. I need a guy who will look after my heart and my emotions. And I think that's the most precious thing, is your heart and emotions, And for a guy, personally, I think that's what a nice, kind, caring, loving guy should want. You should want a woman who, if he's attracted to women, who will take care of his heart and his emotions. That's what he needs. Sam, I went through abusive relationships, cheaters and liars for quite a few years before I found someone who makes me feel genuinely loved. You'll find them too. Thank you, Sam. Yeah. It's hard. It is really hard, I think. I just can't find the right guy, but I'm hopeful, and I will continue being single and being happy being single until I find the right guy for me, because I'm not committing to a guy unless he's super sure he can be in a relationship with me for life. I'm not interested in having these casual relationships, these non-committal things, these acting like we're in a relationship when we're not. I'm not interested in any of that. It's a waste of frigging time. I just don't like that. I'd rather be single, because at the end of the day, I'm better off staying single. Do you know what I mean? And so, I think it is hard to find a right guy, and I think it's very difficult because a lot of people aren't emotionally open. The number of guys that I come across who aren't actually emotionally open. I mean, I have some guy friends. I have a couple of guy friends, right? But I can't really emotionally connect to them at the moment. And that's good, though. For me, it's good, because I love for an emotional connection, right? So if I can emotionally connect to a guy, I have more chance of falling in love with him, or, feeling romantic towards him. So if a guy isn't emotionally connecting with me and they're just writing to me like a friend, then for me, it's kind of better, because I'm not going to fall in love with them. I'm not going to be that romantically inclined with them, because I can't be, because I haven't got the emotional connection. It's when a guy then starts opening up emotionally to me that I emotionally connect with them, and that's when, romantically, it can be very difficult for me. Because for me, romance and emotions go together, kind of hand in hand, really. So, it's nice for me to have a couple of friends that, are guys that I'm not emotionally connected to them. I wouldn't say I'm completely 100% not got any emotions towards them whatsoever. I probably got a tiny little bit, maybe 10% or something towards them both, maybe. Because they've shown me a few little things that shows me their emotions. But other than that, no. Do you know what I mean? It's very, very, very mild for me. And, there are a lot of people that aren't great, but there are some guys out there that are really loving, kind, and caring. We just have to keep like going forward in life and never give up on love or hope. Like, if I let all the guys who have treated me badly in the past, and the guys that have like even been in my life and gone out of it for the last few years, if I let them ruin my future relationship with my future partner because it didn't work out them, like I would be doing myself a disfavor. I can't give up on true love. Like sometimes I just think give up, Sandra. Like the other day I'm like, just give up, just forget about it. And I do love being single. I'm quite happy to be single for a long time, but I do know I have a soulmate. I can't deny it. And so every time I think, oh, just forget it, then I kind of like, yeah, but if you forget it, if you don't believe in true love, it won't happen. And you know you believe in it. I'm a really romantic person. I'm always going to believe it. I can't not, but it, like you have to get over hurt and pain from someone else and move on. So I'm in a better place at the moment. I'm like very happy being single again, which is good. Not that I wasn't single before, but I just feel much more single now. And I think I've got a lot to do with my career, and I think that might be why my Mr. Right is not showing up yet, because I still have a lot to do career wise, business wise. And I need to finish my Asexual Guide to Sex book as well, which is really, 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 really important to me. Like, you have no idea how important that book is to me and to asexuals in the world and to sexuality as we know it. I mean, it's just a phenomenal book that I need to get a shift on with. And I don't have much time left before Christmas to get on with it. So, but I just think everything happens for a reason, good or bad. And, one day I'll meet the guy of my dreams and he'll be like, hello, I'm here. And I'm just like you imagined me. I'm strong. I know exactly what I'm on. I'm in my 20s. I'm Indian gorgeous, obviously. And they got a nice smile too. I can see them. But yeah, so I do really look forward to meeting this person. And like I keep saying to everyone, you've got to be ready when the person shows up, Maybe I'm not quite ready yet. I've got things I need to do. I'm kind of really young as well. Sometimes I think, God, Sandra, you're a bit too young to settle down. You've probably got another 10 years of being young yet, at least. Do you know what I mean? Before you settle down. Don't want to settle down too young. You need to live your young life, first of all. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's why as well, because I'm too young. But I don't believe in committing to someone unless they're really the right person for you. It's a waste of your life. You gotta have someone who really knows what they want. Like with Sam, them and the partner both like know they want each other and to be with each other and to work out their relationship and make it work. That's very different from when you're in it with someone and you're doing all the work, you're valuing them more than they value you. You're wanting to be in a relationship more than they're wanting to be with you. They don't know what the hell they want. You know what I mean? You don't need that type of person. If a person's not sure about you, let them go. Give them all the time and space they want. It's like, hey, bye. I can be off towards the person who is knowing what they want, towards the person who appreciates and values my worth. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't, I've learned in my life and through actually a lot of dating and relationship coaching that I've actually training that I've videos that I watched and stuff like that. Like if a person can't make their mind up about you, they're not the right person for you. You just need to walk away. Sam couldn't agree more. Yeah, thank you, Sam. Yeah, if the person doesn't even know what the frigging heck they want, leave them alone. Let them make their own mind up. If they miss out, they miss out. It's not your problem. At the end of the day, they have their opportunity and chance, and maybe they'll regret it later on. Maybe they won't. But it doesn't matter, does it? Because you can look forward to being with someone who really does know what they want, And I have to find that guy. A guy categorically is an adult in that way, knows what he wants. Doesn't matter what age he is, Some guys in their 20s can be far more adult than older guys. And they have less preconceived ideas and less stuck in their ways and more flexible. And wanting to make things work as well. Some guys that are older, I find that they are more stuck in their ways. They're less flexible. They don't want to change their life. It's like, my God, if you have a partner, your life's going to change. If I have a partner, my life is going to change, right? It's going to be different. you know, and I have to understand and know that, right? That's what goes with the territory. You can't have something without something. Do you know what I mean? So some people, they just don't want their life to change. It's like, if you don't want your life to change, don't change it. Don't even pursue a relationship, because by default a relationship changes your life by default. Do you know what I mean? That's that, you know what I mean? So, but what people don't really think about, well, some do, but a lot of them, they don't even think about, like, in years to come, like what's going to happen then. Like, I think way ahead in years to come. You know, I want to be with a good guy for me. I want to be with someone who's my soulmate, who I'm emotionally connected to and invested with, who we love each other's personalities so much. Like, I like a lot of physical kissing, I really do, but I couldn't just have a relationship like that. I need to go, the guy's got a brain. I need to be able to share my secrets with him, and him to completely share all his secrets with me and not hold back or keep things from me. It's very important, you know. I need all the romance and the moonlit walks and the just chatting to each other. I would love to, like, be with my Indian guy, like, he's in his 20s, and I would love to just be holding hands on, or just looking into each other's eyes, and he's talking to me really enthusiastically, and he's got this beautiful smile and this chestnut hair, and I could just stroke his hair, and I could just see his emotions, and he's so happy about, for example, website design or something, and he's just really into chatting to me about coding, and I'm just sitting there going, oh my god, he's awesome, you know. And he loves that, you know. He, like, really likes the fact that I love him for his personality and for his intelligence and for his beauty, just inner beauty, you know. And that's the most important thing, because it's that that's going to keep a relationship going. Like, I do love kissing, don't get me wrong, but I couldn't base a relationship just on kissing, because that would just end up feeling too sexual to me, you know. There has to be a very strong emotional element and a real strong pull towards that person's personality. Like, I can become attracted to a guy that I wasn't originally that attracted to aesthetically because of his personality. Because it's his personality, his heart, that really, really connects to me. Therefore, I automatically find him much more aesthetically attractive and beautiful. That's how it works for me. So that's how come I can find someone who I wasn't that aesthetically attracted to begin with. But once I've got to know them and their personality, they open their heart up to me, we share an emotional connection, I can then become more attracted to them in terms of their face, for example. I can find them more cute, more handsome, more beautiful, more gorgeous, maybe even more sexy in an asexual way, you know, because it's their personality that draws me to them, that makes me feel like I want to be around them, that makes me feel compelled to be in their company, you know. And so that for me is very important. Personality is hugely important. And I've always wanted someone since I was 10 years old to love me for my personality more than anything. To like my looks is very important. So I like to be said I'm beautiful, I'm pretty, I'm gorgeous. I love your looks. I don't even care if a guy says I'm hot, right? It's fine by me. But as long as you don't expect me to have sex with him. But you know, I want the guy to love me for my personality, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that's what's going to keep him with me more than anything else. It's going to be my personality, because it's very unique and special. And I need a guy who's going to want that type of personality. Like, he's going to feel compulsion to be with my personality. Like, it's going to be like, oh, I can't get enough of your personality because it's beautiful. And, you know, and you want a person who's going to feel you're beautiful and love being around you, even on your worst days. You know, you're going to have some days that are going to be great and fantastic and feel good, and you're going to have some bad days. You have some days which you feel off, which work hasn't gone well, where you feel like down. And that person, if they're a good person, if they love you for who you are and your personality, they will be emotionally connected to you and they'll want to support you. You know, they might feel bad as well, because they might think, oh my God, I can feel this person's pain. But it'll be more of a case, God, I feel so emotionally connected to you because I feel your pain, that I just want to make things better for you. I just want to give you a cuddle and a kiss and just hold you in my arms and tell you everything's going to be okay. You know, that's the type of person you want to be with, not someone who can't cope with the fact that you might have bad days. Because in a relationship, you're not always going to have great days. Do you know what I mean? That person's going to feel you emotionally, then they're going to feel that your pain when you're not having such a good time. They're going to be empathetic to you, and they're going to feel like bad for you, but they're going to want to be there like a huge tower of strength and support to you. They're not going to want to run away. If you get this type of person that can't deal with your bad days, that just wants to run away, then they're not actually the right person for you, because they can't feel you. Does it mean to say you should be in a relationship with someone who's miserable and depressed and bad, being bad? No, it doesn't, right? You've got to be with the person who's balanced, like not having completely rotten days every single day of their life, because that will just drag you down, right? But you have to understand that some people, like especially in certain situations and work situations, they might be going through hell. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's lots of people in the world at the moment that are being made redundant. They are losing their jobs because of the economy is just collapsing, right? So you have to understand that if you're with a partner, they might be having problems at work, They might where work might not be stable, and you've got to help them through that emotional time and support them, not be like, oh right, I'm off now. Right? It's basically when the going gets tough, you stay tough for them. Do you know what I mean? That's the whole point. And when you find if someone really loves or cares about you, is through the tough times. The easy times and the good times are easy and good, aren't they? Right? It's very easy for a person to be all happy and jolly when you're happy and jolly. But it's a lot harder if someone doesn't really care about you to be there for you at your worst times, to see you in sorrow and pain. If they're the type of person that's not actually that in tune with you, that doesn't really care about you, they'll find it a lot more easier to walk away in those situations. And they'll find it a lot easier to be detached and not care and be like, oh, well, okay, I'm off to bed now. Like, do you know what I mean? A person who really cares about you will be there, like, saying, they'll spend extra time with you. Of course, they'll have to go to sleep if they got a job themselves. Do you know what I mean? But they will spend as much time as they can trying to help you and love you. They'll check in with you on the next day, that type of thing. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to look for someone really in a relationship that you do have this connection with, that you do have someone who feels your pain. Because if someone actually genuinely feels your pain and cares about you, then they're not really going to want to cheat on you or go elsewhere or be with someone else. They just are going to want to, because if they hurt you, they hurt themselves. Listen to what I just said. If they hurt you, they hurt themselves. So when you're emotionally connected to someone, right, really truly emotionally connected to someone, you feel that person's pain, the last thing you want to do is hurt that person, because you will feel that pain. So by hurting them, you will hurt yourself. Right? So this is why some people don't want to be emotionally connected to someone, but this is why it's essential to be emotionally connected to someone. Because if you really deeply love someone and want, for example, spend the rest of your life with someone, if you're emotionally connected to them, then you'll want the best for them always. You'll want them to be happy and you'll want to make them happy, because you'll know that if you don't make them happy, you won't feel happy. It'll have a knock-on effect with you. Right? This is like deep soul emotional connection stuff we're talking about here, not artificial, superficial stuff. We're talking about deep soul emotional connection now, So for me, it's very difficult if I'm emotionally connected to a guy to walk away from him. But you have to, right? If you are in some sort of relationship that's not good for you, or you've got an emotional connection with a person that isn't any good for you, you do have to have the strength still to walk away. And it's one of the hardest things to do, right? The hardest things to do. Because like I said, you will feel that pain yourself, but you have to be able to do it. Because you have to put yourself first, right? So you've got to be emotionally connected to a person, really love that person, whilst also caring enough about yourself to walk away if that person is not treating you right, if they're not valuing your worth, if they're being wishy-washy about what they want, if they don't actually know what they want. You have to understand that you can emotionally connect to other people in the future because you've been able to do it with that person. And sometimes you might have to emotionally unhook yourself from that person. And that can be very, very difficult, right? If you've got a true emotional connection, you can stay connected with someone who isn't very good for you. You have to try to unhook yourself from that connection. That can take some time. Usually you have to grieve. You have to cry and get all your emotions out. Because by crying and getting your emotions out, you're kind of emotionally, like a dam, right? You've got a dam, and the dam's to keep the water in, right? If you think about the water as all your emotional connection, and you lift that dam up, the barrier up, and then it all floods out, those emotions are going away from that source, right? So the more that you unleash your grief and unhappiness and sadness and cry and get your grief out, the more you can lift that dam up and actually move into your new light. This is how you do it. It's very difficult to do. I've managed to do it, but it is hard, right? You have to unhook yourself from that person. And once you unhook yourself from that person, you can move forward and be more open to an emotional connection with another person. I mean, if you've got a true emotional connection with that person, sometimes that emotional connection won't ever completely die or completely go away, or you could end up reinstigating it if you're not careful. But once you've unhooked yourself, you can realize the difference and you can stay unhooked by keeping away from that person, by maintaining space from them, by moving on completely from them, maybe even blocking them out of your life completely. So you have to understand that, along with emotional connection comes emotional pain and potential pain, right? But being in a loving, caring, committed relationship means you need to be vulnerable, you need to be open, you need to be honest, you need to be sharing your emotions, to have this wonderful, deep love like you've never felt before in your life. So, and if you ever have to leave that type of situation, it's going to hurt like hell. It really is. There's no two ways about it. It's going to hurt if you had a true emotional connection with them, not a fake or false one. But sometimes we have to leave these people that we have an emotional connection with because they weren't actually the right person for us, however emotionally connected to them we are. Right? And if you're emotionally connected to someone, you kind of know if they're not the right person for you, or they feel that you're not the right person, and you can just tell. And it's kind of sad and upsetting and painful, but it's better to leave that person behind so that you can emotionally unhook from them eventually and move on to someone who's much better emotional match for you, and who will, value emotions, value worth, and look after you a lot better in that respect. So, once you able to emotionally connect with someone, it is harder in life if you've got to walk away, but you always have to remember to keep your wits about you and your mind straight as well, as much as possible. And if this person isn't treating you like you want to be treated, you just need to walk away. And so it can be difficult, but I believe that we still need to open our heart to the possibility of love and to keep moving forward, like, just because one type of person or situation did not work out doesn't mean to say that that's going to be like that forever, and to be able to get a special person in your life, someone you emotionally connect to, is very rare and special. There's I can connect to more than one person emotionally, so you could argue it's not as rare as it could be. But connecting emotionally and romantically to someone and then reciprocating it is another thing entirely. Like, thanks for the thumbs up, lots of love. So for me, like, romance and emotional connection, soul connection, they're really important in a romantic relationship, which is what I seek. It's so important to me. And if you've got all three, if you've got romance, if you've got emotional connection, and you've got spiritual connection, I love an intellectual connection as well. Like, I like to be able to connect to the guy's mind. It's very, very important for me to be able to kind of like have the whole package, kind of the mind, the soul, the emotions, all that type of thing. And I think the more, kind of, for me personally, the more attractions I have satisfied, and the better it is for me, and the more types of, like, so I experience emotional attraction, aesthetic attraction, romantic attraction, intelligence attraction, creative attraction, clothes attraction. I experience a lot of attractions. Like, even a guy who's creative in some ways, it really, really, I feel more emotionally connected to a guy, I guess, who's creative, because it kind of like attracts me to him, and I find his creativity and an emotional energy, I guess, if that makes sense. So that's quite an interesting one that I just thought about while I'm chatting to you, really. I'm like, oh, creative attraction and emotional connection kind of do go together for me as well, because I can kind of emotionally understand someone who's very creative, because my writing to me is the world. By the way, I have been blogging now for over 10 years on my Quirky Books blog, and you might be like, well, this is an asexual channel, why are you bringing that up? Because Quirky Books is actually my publishing imprint, which is the publishing imprint I use to publish my asexual book and my fibro book. So this one is actually a Quirky Books book. It's published under my imprint, Quirky Books. Congratulations, says Sam. Thank you so much. Yes, 10 whole years I've been blogging for on quirkybooks.wordpress.com. That's my original blog that I set up years ago to find my own writing voice and to help other writers to write. I absolutely love writing. I mean, nothing gives me more peace in my soul than writing. Nothing. Diddly squat. It just doesn't. When I'm writing and I'm enjoying my writing process, I just feel completely at peace with my soul. That's why I really need to get back to writing my Asexual Guide to Sex book. I've got a few other things I got to take. Well, one other thing I've got to really take care of at the moment. Well, maybe a few things, but yeah. I really need to get a shift on with that. So really need to get a shift on. But yeah, so and I'm digressing again. But yeah, for me, writing is very emotional. And if you are a very emotional person, it does help you to write better because you can express your feelings in your written work. You know, that's always been a big asset to me because I've always been a very emotional person. I wear my heart on my sleeve, as it were. I find that's a big asset to writing because you can really get to the feelings and emotions, and your readers can feel that through the words. And I think that's an incredible gift to have. So if you're a person who's watching this now and maybe you've been criticized in the past for being too emotional, too sensitive, I just want you to know that it's okay to be that way. Emotional and sensitive may hurt sometimes because other people don't like it because they're not it, right? But to be emotional and sensitive in a world that's trying to make you not and be something you're not and trying to tell you this, that, and the other is just beautiful. You know, don't stop being sensitive and emotional. I'm emotional and sensitive. I'm not going to stop being that way, however horrible some people are to me. I'm not going to stop being that way because I know that love and caring for people requires a great degree of empathy and sensitivity. And in order to understand people, you need those traits. In order to write, you need those traits, right? In order to connect with people, you need those traits. So it's very, very important. And if you do come across someone who you emotionally connect to, just realize it's a very precious and special bond. Very precious and special bond. Don't take that lightly and think, like, look at what's in front of you and, treasure it. I treasure my friendships. I treasure the fact that I'm close to Sam as a friend. I'm close to Andy as a friend. Right, it's not the same as a romantic partner, but it's still really, really good. Really, really wonderful. It's a blessing. Every day I'm blessed to have beautiful friends in my life. I've got an Indian friend who watches this channel as well, who I'm close to in an online distance way as well. He's very good. He's in his early 20s, so I do have a soul friend, even though they're not my romantic soulmate. So that's really nice. And they watch this channel, so hello to you. And so yeah, that's very beautiful as well. We have me and that guy have a Indian guy have a soul connection. So not romantic, but spiritual connection. So that's really nice, and we emotionally connect, I think. Yeah, so it's really good. So yeah, don't think that if you're sensitive, kind and caring, empathetic person that the world hates you, because I know kind of like a lot of people aren't being their true authentic self, and they can't express that. They don't even have it in them a lot of the time and know what it is to be like that. But I tell you, I'd rather be emotional, sensitive, kind, caring, wear my heart on the sleeve, girl. I'm calling myself a guy now. Whatever. It's really funny. I'll make myself laugh so much. I love me. It's great. I would rather be. I knew it. Just kidding. If I was a guy, I'd have a lot more guy options to be in a relationship with. I tell you, a lot more options. It's like, but I'm born a female. I like my female body, even though I don't like any other female bodies. They're all grotesque. But yeah. I just can't stop laughing. I'm about to call myself a guy. It's hilarious. Possibly in another life, who knows? But what I'm trying to say is some people will criticize you for being sensitive, kind, caring, too emotional, blah, blah, blah. You've probably heard it as a child. Oh, you're too emotional. You're too sensitive. Ignore those people, right? They don't have empathy, right? Empathy is a good trait to have. People that have got no empathy are not good in that way. I'm not saying they're all completely terrible, but they're not good in that way and more likely to have narcissistic traits, right? So you don't want to be like them. You want to express your emotions. You want to be kind, caring, and sensitive. And yes, you can be a target for abuse. Yes, you can be a target for bullies. You can be a target to be picked on. They love that type of person to pick on. But at the end of the day, I don't believe in changing yourself and making yourself to be a cold-hearted person just because other people around you can't be their true authentic selves. Want to live in this false world and want to live in this shut off world where they're not emotional and they have to be controlling their feelings every 5 minutes a day. Yes, you need a great degree of control in emotions in terms of, being healthy with yourself, not getting completely out of control, but it's good to express your emotions. Like if you're feeling grief, if you're upset over something that's lost, you need to let your emotions out. You need to let them pour out like a waterfall till they stop naturally. Bottling emotions up is not good. It doesn't help you to move on. It keeps you in your pain. And that's how you actually stay in your past pain a lot, because you're not letting yourself cry. You're not letting your emotions flood out because you're taught as a kid, for example, oh, why are you crying? You shouldn't be crying. I've actually seen parents do that. I'm disgusted. I've seen parents say to their child, oh, stop crying, stop crying. How many times do you go back past someone in the street or in a shop and hear the mother or father say that? I mean, this is mothers sometimes. You would have thought the mother would be more sympathetic because it's meant to have more feminine traits, but it's disgusting, right? If you've ever experienced that, it's disgusting. You should be able to let your emotions out. It shouldn't be stopping you crying. It should be saying, someone should be comforting you in pain, saying, hey, what's wrong? Tell me about it. Let me understand you. Let's go through this together because I care. That's what you should have someone. Not someone go, oh, shut up, stop crying, like there's something wrong with crying. This is why people get into destructive patterns of behavior and end up in abusive situations or being an abuser themselves because they bottle their emotions up so much. They're taught to keep everything in and then they explode. It's really unhealthy, right? So don't listen to these people going, stop crying and stuff like that. Cry. Let it all out. Cry yourself to sleep if you need to, right? Obviously, if it goes on for weeks crying, you've got a problem, you need to have therapy, right? Because you don't want to be crying for weeks and weeks and weeks forever. But I mean, if you've just come out of a long relationship, like years ago when I came out of a long-term relationship, it took me 18 months, 2 years to get over it. I was crying for weeks over that. Like a lot of times, it's hard. It's not easy. So give yourself a break, just love yourself and know that the time will pass. That's what you've got to say to yourself. The time will pass, the time will pass and you will be fine again, right? But don't, all the people that say, oh, don't be emotional, don't be this. I tell people the truth, even people that I know aren't so nice people, because I won't change myself. I won't become cold-hearted and emotionless like them. And liars and people that are not being their true authentic self. I won't become them. I just won't. I won't become like them. I refuse to. Right? It's like some people take revenge or want to get back at someone if they've been hurt. I don't want that. I don't want revenge or to get back at someone. I just want to leave their life and better my own. That's all I want to do. I don't believe in revenge, but if you want to talk about revenge, that's the best revenge, is just leave them alone and get on with your own life and better your own life, Show them that you don't need them, that you're happy and healthy and committed to your own life and personal professional development and for making yourself happy, and move forward and on to people who can love you for who you are and care about you and be happy being you, because it's very, very important. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this live stream tonight. I've really loved having Sam here. I'm Skyping Sam later today. Woo, 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 woo. Quite a few hours later. Because it's Monday now. That's our Skype day later on tonight. It's Monday morning now. So yes, I'm going to really look forward to that. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you understand now what emotional connection is, why it's important to have it in a relationship, because it makes it so much better. Indeed, don't be late, laugh out loud. I love being told off sometimes. It's nice when your friend cares about you so much they tell you off. It's good. I love it. Yes, 9 o'clock it is. I know, 9 o'clock tonight. Well, I should have time to do my stream earlier tonight. So I got lots of things to do in the morning, but I'm probably going to get an early night to wake up to do some lovely work tomorrow. I've got everything out I need to do, but I think it's time to have some sleepy peepee. Anyway, until next time, embrace your quirky and each other's. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button now, please. And hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now, post a new video. Thanks to my best friend Sam. Lots of love and a friendship way to them for being in chat. And love to all the other people that are watching. I know that you're watching, even if you're quiet. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video or live stream. Thank you so much. Don't forget to share this video if someone needs to hear this message right now. And I'll see you soon. Bye, Sam. Bye, everyone else. Lots of love. Bye.